My name is Master Julia Cross, MBE. I'm a 7th degree in Taekwondo. I started when I was 11 years old, and I went along with my father because he thought it would be good for us to do something together. And I remember the first day clearly, and I just loved it. It was fast paced. And I remember waking up the next day not being able to move because I'd worked so many muscles that I'd never used before. So that's when it started. It was January 1986.
She loved it. She loved to do it. She would practice in here. I put up a board in the garage that both I and she could break. So I really felt, I gave it up when she started beating me for her pocket money.
Yeah, I started competing as a green belt actually, and I was 12 years old. And at that time, it was boys and girls together. And I remember the first competition, I was green belt, and I was sparring against a black belt boy, and I got absolutely beaten really, really badly. But after that, I thought, no, I can do better than this. So it just developed from there. I've always been quite feisty and not really taking directions very well, and I just remember saying that that's not going to happen again at 12 years old.
She liked to do things her way too. Didn't like to be told too often what to do.
Correct. Mm-hmm. As I say, she was early at Taekwondo, and therefore she focused on that, and she focused on competitions. So from a gradual start, she rose through the ranks.
When I was 17 and I went to the first Junior European Championships, then afterwards I thought, wow, I want to do this. There's so many black belt girls, and it was just a big, huge eye-opener that there was this big world out there with lots of female martial artists. And I remember walking in the hall and going, wow, this is something special. It was definitely after that first Europeans that things changed.
She took like a duck to water. So that was the start. And as they say, the rest is history.
So the 5 principles are courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and indomitable spirit.
And can you tell me the role they've played in your life?
I think at first when you're young you don't really understand the values of the principles. As you get older you learn how to take these principles into your own life and try and act accordingly, like General Choi said, to implicate them in your life to make you a better person, basically. Most definitely for me, the principle that's probably helped me the most in life is perseverance. Because if you don't persevere and you just give up at the first hurdle, then you're not going to learn and grow as a person, but also in the martial art. Yes, I've won many titles, but it wasn't always that way. There were some times I'd be good, other times I wasn't, so I'd come back and reflect and think, right, what can I do better? How can I change? And to be able to do that, you have to persevere, because it doesn't just happen overnight. It's a process, and it's a long process. So that's how I implemented that with my training. So in Argentina, that was my first world title in minus 58 kilo sparring. That was probably one of my favourite titles, because I was the only Scottish person that went, and I got taken under Grandmaster Willie van der Mortel's wing. Grandmaster Willie's always been very, very tough trainer that I'd never experienced. I mean, I went to train with him and he just kicked me black and blue, and I gave him the same back. I remember he said to me once training, he said, "Julia, do you know how good you are?" And I went, "Well, I think I'm pretty good." He said, "No," he said, "you're the best female I've ever seen that can do patterns and sparring, and the way you train is like no female I've ever seen." He said, "But until you believe how good you are, you won't get what you think you are capable of. So he taught me self-belief and positive affirmations. He said, you can train as hard as you want, but you have to do the mental preparation as well. So that was one thing that just changed my whole perspective on how I trained. It wasn't just at the gym, it wasn't just Taekwondo, it was visualization, mental preparation, looking at quotes that inspired you, and just pure determination and self-belief. So yes, he helped me massively. The mental preparation was harder than the physical, because only you can do it. It was tough, it was really tough, especially the South Americans, and like I had Argentina in the semi-finals, and I had all the South American countries. Then I had North Korea in the final, and when I bet North Korea, that was something special.
That was unheard of
Yep.
at that time, right?
Never been beaten. It was amazing when I was standing on the podium. General Choi actually gave me my medal, and of course North Korea was standing next to me, and he said to me, "Well done, Scottish Rose, well done."
She had everything. Legs, hands, movement, timing, distancing, you know. But she was barbaric. She fought like with guys, with stronger people, and when it came to sparring with women her own size, she dominated everybody. And it was the other thing as well about being ringside, and it's hard to explain, is this: when the shots are landing on the competitors, the noise that it made when she was landing her shots and everything. There was a lot of oohs and ahs in the crowd when she did that. But if you watch it, the YouTube videos that are out there, I don't think it does it justice because she was that good.
She's one of the most decorated athletes, not only in Scotland, but in the world. She has won multiple titles, not just in one discipline, but in multiple disciplines, which is very unheard of, especially in this day and age as well in Taekwondo. You find a lot of people are just sort of stuck to one discipline in competition, whereas Mastercross has done it all. She competed in a time where there was a lot more competitors and stuff, so it really is so unbelievably impressive what she achieved as an athlete, and the fact she was able to win one and then go to the next event and win that as well. It's something that not a lot of people have, and yes, people have drive, but she really is one of the most driven people I've ever met in my life, and I look up to her in that way, and I really try and be like her in that sense as well, because she really is an inspiration.
I've had 13 surgeries in total, 11 on my knees and hips and 2 on my thumbs, which are not Taekwondo related in any way. The biggest one that impacted me the most was obviously when I had to have my hip replaced, and I'd had one surgery on it before to try and get rid of all the scar tissue, and there's a bone growth. And I think I said already that 8 weeks after the surgery I won the European Championships in sparring, and nobody believed I could do it. But my surgeon said to me, if anybody can do it, you can. And he had so much belief in me. He said, I've met you as a character, you're very strong-willed. So when I phoned him and told him I'd won, he said, I never doubted, but I wasn't sure because of the seriousness. But then when I came back, I competed in one more tournament, the Worlds, and I came back and my femur head was cracked. And that was the hardest one, because that was it. My career was finished. The worst defeat I've ever had was my last competition in 2009. It was in Argentina against an Argentinian girl in the final, and my hip was really bad, and I had to change my style completely because I couldn't do certain things. So I changed it and nobody knew what had changed it to or why. In Argentina in the final, my coach said, "No, you're definitely up," and I felt brilliant. I was like, I'm going to retire. I won in Argentina, last competition, Argentina. You couldn't see exactly the scores, and then they put her hand up, and I was just broken. I think naively I thought that it wasn't that bad until I saw the x-rays, and when my surgeon said, "Do you want to walk?" When he put it black and white like that, I thought, well, of course I want to walk. But naively I thought, well, maybe I could be okay with a new hip, and he categorically said no. He said absolutely not. So yes, that was a massive shock to the system, and trying to get your brain around that fact of something you've been doing internationally for 20 years to like stop there and then. That was really hard. I saw getting a hip done as a challenge. I saw it as I would prepare for it. He told me to train as hard as I possibly could, because it couldn't get any worse, basically, until the day of surgery, to be as strong as possible for the best possible outcome. And I did exactly what he said. And after surgery, he said, if you do exactly what I tell you to do, then you'll make a good recovery, which I did to the absolute T, every day, relentlessly, and the pain, never had pain like that. After the surgery, you feel like you could just been hit by a bus. My whole leg was black and blue, but I just kept thinking, right, it's training for World Championships, it's training for this, and I just kept pushing. And when he saw me 6 weeks later, he couldn't believe I was walking without crutches. I wasn't fixed, it takes months. And stupidly I thought that getting a new hip would fix everything mentally, but of course it didn't. And I remember just feeling so low. I don't want to cry.
It's okay. Take a second.
Yep. 'Cause it still feels like it was yesterday, and it's 15 years ago. And I went to the doctors and I had a list of how I was feeling, the thoughts I was having, and he was a sports doctor as well for the Scottish rugby team, and he basically said to me, "Why have you not come and seen me before? Lots of people suffer from depression when they retire. It's because the serotonin in your brain is not having the same response. So everything," I can't explain it in medical terms, but he said that you're clinically depressed. I've seen it so many times. You need to have therapy, you need to go on medication. And that was, I'm not saying the best thing, but to know I wasn't going absolutely crazy, that it's normal. And I didn't hide it. Well, I did for a while, because I was embarrassed. But now the stigma is completely different. If you suffer from depression, it's an illness, it's not something that you want to happen. So I was in therapy for a long time, and the counsellor was brilliant. And the first thing she said to me, "What do you want to have out of this?" I said, "I don't want to feel like this." And she said, "Correct answer." And she opened up. She was good. And that was a life-changing, a life-saving thing for me. And it's taken years of building on myself to not have that, I think, feeling a loss of sorrow of what I did have, but I'm also very grateful that I had such a long career. So yes, it was very tough for a long time. And I think that's why I put a lot of emphasis onto my students. If they're not alone, if they feel they want to talk to me, all my elites, all my black belts, they know what I've been through. I don't hide it. I'm not embarrassed anymore, because I thought that was probably the hardest fight of my life. Not in the ring, in your own mind. I actually started teaching, it'll be 26 years ago this year, but I was in a high school, and when I retired I decided to take the jump and go full time and build a dojang. I think of my students as well. They kept saying, oh, it'd be nice to have our own place, because so many other schools had their own premises. But it's not quite as easy as that. You have to find somewhere and all the work and preparation. But we did it as a team. We used to train in a high school in their gym hall. Looking back, it was okay. It wasn't ideal. It was a wooden floor, like a polished wooden floor, which hurt your feet. So it wasn't the best, but I started off to build my school there, and that's how I was able to take on the full-time premises. I knew that I always wanted to take on a full-time place, but when I retired, yes, that was the jump, and I found the unit, and 6 months after, well, no, 3 months after I had my hip done, then we started building the gym. So that was another focus to take my mind off retiring. So I just threw myself into that. But then when that was finished, and my surgeon actually opened the gym, and then it all came crashing down again. So I thought, this will fix it, this will fix it. It didn't. It helped, but it didn't fix things. My name is Julia Cross, and I'm a 6 times world champion.
How does that feel?
Sometimes it feels like I'm talking about somebody else still. And I know I am. It's a weird sensation. I'm not big-headed, I've never have been. It's just a quiet confidence that I know what I've achieved, and I don't need to go about telling people. Because at the end of the day, I did it for myself. I didn't do it for anybody else.